Welcome to Action and Cut. Chaos occurs in a genetic experiment laboratory, the escape of several children with super abilities. Blood splattered everywhere. Dr. Beat comes to the scene and is very disappointed with what she sees. The pursuit of the children was carried out, some were caught. And a girl named Ja-yoon managed to escape. Dr. Beak ordered Mr. Choi to keep looking for Ja-yoon and report to headquarters that Ja-yoon has been arrested. Ja-yoon runs to the ranch area, where she collapses from exhaustion. On the farm, a man named Mr. Gu is at work and finds Ja-yoon. He brought Ja-yoon into the house. Mrs. Gu immediately called the doctor to check on Ja-yoon's condition. The doctor says Ja-yoon's wound will get better. But her memory is lost because she can't remember her name and age. And Ja-yoon was adopted by the Gu family. After 10 years passed, Ja-yoon grew up to be a dutiful child. She helps her parents buy animal feed from her father's friend. But because the Gu family is experiencing financial difficulties, the owner of the fodder shop didn't want to give her the debt, but his son helped Ja-yoon load the meal into his truck. And Ja-yoon immediately brought the fodder home. At the same time, police officer Do Kyung-jang arrives. He worries about Ja-yoon, whose family has financial difficulties, and she drives without a driver's license. Ja-yoon arrives at the house and meets her father and tries to help him, but he refused. He tells Ja-yoon to accompany her mother, who is suffering from dementia. Dan suggested that Ja-yoon be more feminine in clothes. Ja-yoon met her mother and offered to eat because Mrs. Gu had forgotten breakfast. At dinner, Mr. Gu said to sell his cows because he couldn't buy fodder. But Ja-yoon objected to this because the price of cattle was going down. After Ja-yoon showered, suddenly her head hurt so bad. And Ja-yoon found out about her illness on the internet. Ja-yoon has a close friend, Do Myung-hee, a police officer's daughter. They always take the bus to school together. Myung-hee informs her that there is a talent competition at the television station with a big prize, and Ja-yoon, accompanied by Myung-hee, went to register for the talent contest. It turned out that after the first test, the score Ja-yoon got was excellent. Mr. Gu and Mrs. Gu hear Ja-yoon's beautiful voice and are proud of her. At that time, the phone rang and Myung-hee picked up and no voice answered. Before going back to sleep, Ja-yoon's head was in severe pain again. The next day the two of them, Ja-yoon and Myung-hee, went to Seoul to attend the announcement of the semi-finals of the competition. On the train, they meet a man who claims to know Ja-yoon. The man tried to scare Ja-yoon with a slapping motion, and Ja-yoon and Myung-hee were scared and shouted to let the other passengers know. Finally, the man left. The man went to the next carriage and was bumped into by the person on the phone. He got angry, killed that person, and threw his body out of the train. After getting off the train, Ja-yoon and Myung-hee immediately went to find a taxi to the television station. Finally, they arrived at the location, and Ja-yoon sang very beautifully. When it was time for the announcement, Ja-yoon managed to win this preliminary round and made it to the quarterfinals. And the producers of the show gave praise to Ja-yoon. While in the toilet, Ja-yoon's headache was very painful. She suddenly remembered what the doctor had said, that she was only 2 to 3 months old. Unless Ja-yoon had a bone marrow transplant, it could help her. Myung-hee knocked on the toilet door, looking for Ja-yoon. Ja-yoon finally came out with a bloody nose. They went out looking for a taxi back to the train station. Then came 2 black cars. Get off some people from the 2 vehicles. They force Jo-yoon into their car, but Myung-hee immediately grabs Ja-yoon's hand into their taxi. After they reach their area by express train, they must wait for the bus to go to their house. The weather was cloudy and no bus came. Myung-hee calls her father, a police officer, to pick them up. While Myung-hee was on the phone, a black car came with the man who used to be on the train. He threatened to kill his father and mother. Then the man went to Ja-yoon's house. Immediately, Ja-yoon ran and shouted for Myung-hee to tell her father to come directly to Mr. Gu's house. The police, Myung-hee's father, managed to arrive on time, and he scolds the man. Finally, Ja-yoon and Myung-hee arrived by taxi. And they were terrified to see the police car was on, and the house lights were off. So they ran into the house, found their father playing chess, and the electricity was being repaired. Mr. Da Kyung-jang and Myung-hee went home after losing $50 from chess, but before going home, Mr. Kyung-jang tells Jo-yoon to be careful of the man who was here earlier. Dr. Ko, ex-researcher in genetic lab, went home. When he got home, he saw the garden light was on. After he approached, his family was slaughtered by the man on the train and his friends. At last, Dr. Ko and his driver were killed brutally. They burned the house to the ground. Mr. Choi visited Dr. Baek to find out why she had moved to headquarters. And she told him to resign and go on vacation. And leave Ja-yoon's case to her. Mr. Choi came to the leader of the firm and reported the strangeness of Dr. Baek and ordered Mr. Choi to kill Ja-yoon and bring her head to him. At dinner together, Mrs. Gu, who has dementia, begins to relapse. She asks where Ja-yoon is and who is actually in front of her. Ja-yoon was reminded of what happened back in the laboratory when she wanted to sleep. And it made her head hurt again. Myung-gi woke up to go to the bathroom and heard Mr. Gu. Ja-yoon immediately got up and left the room. But the gun was pointed at her head. And Myung-hee was threatened with a knife around her neck. Then Myung-hee's neck started slashing, but Ja-yoon immediately took the gun pointed at her head and killing all Mr. Choi's men. After all of them died, the man on the train and his friends came. And he tells about Ja-yoon's past and why Ja-yoon was bright from a young age and became a champion in all fields. That is because she is a genetic experimenter. The man invites Ja-yoon to come with him so she can understand what's happening. Finally, Ja-yoon agreed and left with them. Meanwhile, Mr. Choi prepares to attack the location of Dr. Baek's laboratory. Ja-yoon arrived at the laboratory and was immediately escorted for examination. And Ja-yoon was tied to a chair. And Dr. Baek introduces herself through the speaker from the one-way glass room. She said that Ja-yoon was the result of the experiment and the best result of all the experiments. But Ja-yoon says she doesn't remember any of it, so Dr. Baek ordered her man injects medicine into Ja-yoon's neck. The drug made her memory recover. Dr. Baek says that Ja-yoon's strength has a weakness, namely a painful headache, and can cause death. That's why Dr. Baek makes medicine that can relieve headaches that arise. But the drug only lasted 1 month. Ja-yoon suddenly had a headache, and Baek immediately ordered the man inject the second medicine into her neck. At that moment, a change occurred in Ja-yoon's body. And she managed to free herself from the rope, the tighter hands. Ja-yoon starts using her power to kill Dr. Baek's men. Finally, Ja-yoon pointed her gun at Dr. Baek and shot it at Dr. Baek's left leg, asking where the rest of the headache medicine was. In another room, the man and his friends confront Mr. Choi, who is trying to enter the laboratory facility, and a shootout occurs between them. The man walks out of the gunfight and looks for Dr. Baek. Exciting fights are inevitable between Ja-yoon and the man. In the end, Ja-yoon won this fight. And it suddenly appeared Mr. Choi had shot the man and Ja-yoon. And Mr. Choi shot Dr. Baek with the pistol, then she's dead. Suddenly with a knife, the woman stabbed Mr. Choi through his hand, but he could fight back and punch the girl. Ja-yoon got up and immediately stood behind Mr. Choi and killed him. The woman with the knife stabbed Ja-yoon, but Ja-yoon was too strong and squeezed the woman's head to death. The man pointed a gun at the head of Ja-yoon, but she froze him. Then she stabbed him and finished him. She took the rest of the medicine and went home to give it to her sick mother. Mr. Gu's house has a lot of police cars and Ja-yoon didn't dare to go home right away. Finally, she managed to sneak in and give the drug to her father. And after that, Ja-yoon said goodbye to her father. And waved goodbye to Myung-hee, her best friend. Thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe.